Why, good morning or afternoon or whenever it is that you're watching this. Hello there. How are you on this absolutely fantastic day? I know that I already made a video saying that it's going to be the final rounding video, but I believed it at the time being, but this is going to be the final, the real final, the true final, the actual final rounding practice video that we're going to do. And this is going to be a very different one than what we've done before for a couple of reasons. First of all, believe it or not, you are not going to be copying everything that I do. Okay, I'm going to show you, you are going to watch, you are going to listen, you are going to pay attention, but you're not going to copy. You're just going to watch what I do. The only thing you really need is an index card, okay? And I will explain why you will need this index card later. But you're not, I want to be incredibly clear about this. You're not copying the examples from here to this tiny little, that wouldn't make any sense, folks, right? That wouldn't make any sense. So we are not doing that. We're going to just basically, I'm going to give you a very different kind of review, quicker, I hope, and we'll see if you have any questions after this. That's basically what it's going to go right down to. So let's get crack-a-lackin', shall we? If I can switch my camera to the proper camera, and let's go. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is rounding to the nearest thousand. And no, you are not writing this down. You're not copying this. This is just what we're doing. We're doing rounding the nearest 1,000, excuse me. And we're doing it in three different ways. Okay, so here we go. Round at the nearest thousand. The first time we're going to do this, this is going to be our target number. Okay, and what you're going to ask yourself is, how many thousands are in this number? Well, there are 6, right? There are 6, which means that our choices are, you either stay the same and it stays a 6,000, or you go up to the next 1,000. What's 1,000 more? 7,000. So this is going to be kind of a weird review video because I'm not even going to talk about midpoints. I am not, and quite frankly, I'm not even going to solve the problem. I just want us to make sure that we're comfortable with what our choices are here. Is this number closer to 6,000 or 7,000? Okay, yes, we've already talked about midpoints. Yes, we've already talked about placing the dot, which some of my friends need to kind of remember to actually do. But today's video, I just want us to be comfortable with where we are and what our choices are and how they look different, okay? So again, this is just rounded the nearest thousand with a 4-digit number, and it looks like this. What about if it was a 5-digit number? Like this, and we also wanted to round to the nearest 1,000. Okay, what would that look like? Well, we would start out by asking the same question. How many thousands are in this number? You could say 4, but to make our lives easier, it is also true to say that there are 34 thousands. Okay, and I would highly recommend doing that. Okay, that means that your choice is, if it stays the same, 34,000, because that's how many thousands are in this number. Remember, you either stay the same or you go up. You never go backwards. All right, it would never be 33, never. What is 1 more than 34? What is 1 more thousand than 34,000? 35,000. And those are your two choices. Mr. Brown, what about the midpoint? We're not talking about the midpoint right now. I just want you to be comfortable with what your choices would actually be. For a number like this, they would be 34,000 or 35,000, right? Because there's 34,000 in this number. Okay? Again, you're not writing anything down yet. You're just watching. Now let's talk about rounding to number to the nearest 1,000 again for all 3 of these. But this time we have a 6-digit number. This number goes up to the 100,000s place, but we're still rounding to the nearest 1,000. Okay? So ask yourself the same question you did here and here. How many thousands are in this number? Okay? And yes, we're not going to go there. We're going to say that there are 529 thousands in this number, which is true. There are 529 thousands. Okay? So that means that our choice, I'm going to have to go way down here to show you this. So for this one right here, if it stays the same, it stays at 529,000. Notice how all these other ones turn into zeros. Just like in these examples up here. all these turned into zeros. All these turned into zeros. So please make sure that we're remembering that, okay? So again, if we stay the same, 529,000. What is one more than 529? What is one more thousand than 529,000? If that's too much for you, ask yourself, what's one more than 29? You could do that. It's 30. So 530,000. Those are your two choices. Now, I'm not talking about the midpoint. I'm not talking about where to place the dot. At this point, I think it's pretty obvious at this point that 529 is closer to 530, right? I mean, I'm not saying, I'm just saying. So for one like this, you tell me, what number do you think this is closer to? If you have a 34,000 and then just a 51, seems kind of obvious it will be closer to this number than that number, okay? And in this one right here, where do you think it lives? Closer to this one or this one, right? Look at that 8. That'll tell you where it lives. So I want you to take your blank index card right now, and I want you to, right here, draw a little emoji as to how you are feeling about rounding to the nearest thousand. I really want you to do that. Either you can draw a happy one, you can draw a meh, or you can draw a not so good. I want you to draw one of those to just for yourself, not for me, but for yourself, to say like, hey, how am I feeling about rounding to the nearest thousand in all 3 different ways? If there is a type that you feel that you want Mr. Brown to go over again, when this video is done, write down one of these following numbers now. Okay? If you put a meh, if you put a frowny, write down one of these. And Mr. Brown, when the video is over, I'll talk about it. I'll go over it, okay? That's what I want you to do on this thing right there. Now, if you put a smiley face and you still want me to review, so absolutely, you can still say, hey, I still would like you to talk about this one more time, or this, or whatever. I mean, regardless to what kind of emoji you put there, it's all good. Okay, so that's what I want you to do. Okay, now next, let's talk about rounding the nearest 10,000. Okay, the nearest 10,000. This is different, right? So rounding the nearest, I'm only going to do 2 examples for this one. Okay. Because I'm not going to go there. So anyways, let's talk about this for our first one. Now, this is different than rounding to the nearest thousand. This is different than this because you can't say how many thousands are in this number because we're not rounding to the nearest thousand. We're rounding to the nearest 10,000. So you can't say there's 48 of these. That's not going to work. If we're going by tens, 10,000, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, that's what we're doing here. This is different than what we did before. So if we're rounding to the 10,000, and here's your clue, it has a 10 in it. Your number down here and up here will be like your skip counting by tens. Okay? So what number, how many 10,000s are there? There are 4. This number 4 is in the 10,000s place. There are 4 10,000s or 40,000. Okay? So again, this would be like a multiple of 10, which it is. If you skip count by tens, what comes after 40? You got it. 50. These are your 2 choices. Okay? You know what I mean? Like, as I'm doing this, make a mental note or write down in your index card like, I think I might want Mr. Brown to go over this again. Rounding to the nearest 10,000 is what we're doing right now. Okay, these are your 2 choices, 40 or 50. Okay, so as you can see, this is different. And again, just like last time, all the numbers over here to the right of the comma all turn into zeros. There should not be any numbers on this number line in the top or the bottom over here to the right of this. They should all be zeros, regardless to whether you're doing rounding to the nearest 1,000, 10,000, or 100,000. These change to this. It's really important that we know that. Okay? Next, What? Wait a minute, that looks familiar. Is there why would you do such a thing? Why would you do such a thing? Because I need you to know that this and this are solved the same way. We just have an extra number, right? What I call the Uncle Rudy number. Okay? That is involved with this situation. Otherwise, you solve this and this the same way, except for the fact that there's just an extra number to deal with. So the 1 can go down first, right? We don't care about that 1. And then otherwise we just pretend like a 1's not there, right? You've heard me say this before. The choices are still the same if we pretend like it's not there. How many 10,000s are there? 4. 140,000. What's 10,000 more? 50,000. See side by side how these are essentially, you solve this the same way, except you have the extra thing of, now again, yes, I haven't talked about the midpoints. It's true. If you want to talk about midpoints real briefly, I can. And for 10,000s place, it's pretty darn easy. What's halfway between 40 and 50? 45. It'd be 45,000. What's halfway between 40 and 50? 45. 45. But except for this one, it will be 145,000. And this would just be 45,000. Again, I know I said I wasn't going to talk about midpoints. I know that. So now let's get out your I want to know for your Ms. I want to know how you're feeling about this. And let me know. Okay? Which one, is there one of these that you would like me to review or talk about this type? Not even this exact example, but just something similar to it. Write down if you're, whatever one you do. Write down one of these. Say, hey, I really think I need another one on this. Write it down on the index card. And then we're going to finish this puppy off, last but certainly not least. Ready? Because last we're talking about, and I'm only going to do one example with this, rounding the nearest 100,000. Okay, rounding the nearest 100,000. So here we go. This is our target number. We will not be saying how many thousands are there in there. We will not be putting down 372,000. No. This number right here is in the 100,000s place. And we're rounding to the nearest 100,000. So all we would need to do is say how many 100,000s are there? There are 300,000. Notice how everything else turns into zeros. All right, the review paper I saw the other day, thinking if we need to practice this maybe a little bit more. Maybe we didn't do this one enough. The 3 is in the 100,000s place. Your choices are either stay the same at 300,000 or what is 100,000 more. That's right. It's, whoops. Hello. Need more coffee. Or $400,000. I said $1,000. Oh, sure. Let's make it money. Why not? Woohoo, money. Woo! So, again, if you want to talk about midpoints, we can. I said I wasn't going to. What's halfway between 300 and 400? It's 350. 350,000. I almost said dollars. 350,000. Okay. Oh my gosh, he's actually going to write, don't do it, Mr. Brown. Don't do it. You said you weren't going to talk about this. No. So, again, that's it. And then you would say, what is this target number closer to, 300 or 400,000? Again, one more time. You should have 3 emojis. The first one for how you are feeling about rounding to the nearest 100,000. That's one emoji. You should have another emoji on here for how you feel about this. And then you should have another emoji for how you feel about this. And then we can have a conversation. All right, my friends, that is it. That is the final. And I told you this was going to be different, didn't I? I told you this was going to be different, and I was right. So have a wonderfully fantastic day, and let's do this.